back this week. I'm Quinn, and this is Open Awareness Yoga. We use a bunch of props, so you'll need, if you're in a tighter body, you'll need a yoga block or maybe a stack of hardback books. Also a strap. This can be a belt or a tie, a robe strap. And you'll also need a towel or a blanket, something like this. It can be a bath towel. And I wanted to show you, before we get into the movement portion of our class today, this is Mr. Jones, and he's got some great shoulder blades. His don't move, ours do, but I wanted to show you what the shoulder blades look like on your back. You can draw them together towards the spine or away from the spine, and we're going to be working to get these guys to move. And if these guys move a little bit more, we can help open across the chest and therefore open across the space of the heart, which is really this area of the upper back. So we'll go ahead and get started in Shavasana. So lie down on your back and lengthen your legs out long. Just get yourself comfortable. Make any adjustments it feels like you need here to get started. And once you settle down, just tune in to how you feel your body on the floor. Feel which parts of your body are spreading into the floor. Feel any differences between the right and left sides of the body, and resist the urge to adjust anything or work towards some sense of symmetry. We'll come back to this position to check in to see how the somatic sensing work that we do at the beginning of class impacts the way our body rests on the floor here in Shavasana. So let's go ahead and bend the knees, place the feet on the floor, and bring the feet a comfortable distance away from the tush. So I like to imagine that my legs, the lower leg and upper leg, here the thigh and the lower leg, are like two cards, playing cards leaning against one another. And they should feel even. So just adjust until you get that sense of, this is right for me today. And then tuning into your low back. As you exhale, flatten your low back down to the ground. We're rocking the pelvis backwards. Your belly will sink down slightly towards the floor. Wait for an inhale breath in. As you inhale, rock the pelvis forward. The low back lifts, and we arch the low back off the floor. Continue with your breath with this arch and flatten, pelvic tilt, a little more exaggerated than we do it sometimes in class. And then just notice what you notice. Trying to feel the detail of the way your body interacts with the floor. Noticing if this movement seems to stutter, or is it smooth? This is your baseline. We haven't done anything yet. And come back to a neutral spine, no arch or flatten. Cross the right ankle over the left knee, like as in a figure 4 stretch, but that's not what we're doing. And here, very gently and slowly, rock the hips right to left. The legs don't come all the way down to the floor. You just rock across the low back. And really release weight down into your pelvis. Maybe close the eyes. And again, feel, sense. Notice what you notice. And as we work through this sensing exercise, just try to use minimal effort so that you're not here to force yourself into any movement, but explore and experience more in each movement, more of what is there already. And then take one more rock right to left. When you feel ready, come back to center. Uncross your right leg, foot on the floor, and change sides. Left ankle crosses over right knee and rock side to side. And as you come through center, go down into the pelvis. Let the bones of the hips connect with the floor. And check your speed. If we move too fast, a lot of the ability to sense what's going on might be rushing by, especially if you're new to this type of observation of your body. And take a couple more rocks side to side. When you feel ready, come back to center and place both of your feet back on the floor. We'll come back to that arch and flatten. Exhale, breaths flatten the low back to the earth. Inhale, breaths arch the spine away from the earth. Tuning in deeply, noticing if anything is different from the first round. All right. We'll come to lying on our side, and you'll take your towel or your blanket, and on a pretty low fold, it lifts the head up just maybe about 1.5 inches away from the floor. You'll place it underneath your head, lay on your side, and place your head right at the center or towards the front edge of that towel. And then we want to line up the back of the head with the shoulders and the hips in one line. So try and get one straight line, back of head, shoulders, and hips. And then bring the knees in front of your hips and your feet straight down from the knees. So there's a 90-degree angle here at the hips and here at the knees. Then place your top arm over the bottom arm. Close your eyes. Just notice how it feels to lie here on your side. We'll take some more of those somatic movements. You might want to watch for the first one. As you inhale, you reach the top palm past the bottom palm. And as you exhale, elbow bends and you trace up your arm towards your chest. Inhaling, you reach that top arm past the bottom palm. Exhaling, elbow bends, trace the arm, maybe going a little further. Continue with your breath. Each time you revolve back, the body may take you naturally deeper into the twist. Minimal effort here. The purpose of these movements are to release those scapula, to release the shoulder blades. And when and if your elbow begins to touch the ground behind you, you will open up the arm, make it straight, and then with the straight arm, bring it back over and reach past the palm. And now with the straight arm, gaze follows the hand, we open and close. Kind of like a baby shark sort of thing. Maybe this is like Grandpa Shark, I don't know. Minimal effort. This movement is natural. And your gaze, that means your head follows that upper arm. So we're looking behind us. All right, the next time your hand comes up to the sky, so the fingertips are up towards the sky, we'll reach the arm up into the air, shoulder blade lifts, and as you exhale, arm stays straight, drop that left shoulder blade down towards the floor. Inhale to lift the arm up. exhale to draw it down. And again, minimal effort. Go with gravity here. As the body releases down towards the ground, the shoulder blade moves down the back towards the hips. And as it lifts up, the shoulder blade moves away from the spine. Just a couple more times here. All right. Come again to side lying. And roll onto your back. Lay in Shavasana once more. Legs straight. Notice how your body feels on the earth. Maybe you feel a difference on the shoulder blade that was just on top. Maybe you notice what that exercise did in your body. And bend the knees. And I'm going to switch around sides so I'm still facing you, but you can just roll over onto your other side. And you start by placing your head more towards the front side of your blanket, and then line up the back of your head with the shoulders and the hips as best you can. Then a 90 degrees at the hips and at the knees. Again, start just by side lying here. Noticing how it feels. And then we'll begin with that first sort of bow and arrow move. So as you inhale, slide your top palm beyond your bottom palm. And as you exhale, bend the elbow, trace the top hand up the arm towards the chest. Continue with this, minimal effort. And if it's natural for your body, maybe you go a little further each time you exhale back. Just notice what you notice. When and if your top elbow touches the floor behind you, you'll open up the arm, and then with a straight arm, draw it back up and over, sliding it past the bottom palm, and another straight arm moves behind you. Follow the fingertips with your gaze. So the neck gets involved in this as well. One more time. And then the next time your hand comes straight up to the sky, fingertips up, you're side lying again. We inhale to lift the fingertips higher, and exhale to drop that top shoulder blade down towards the ground behind you. Just continue. Maybe this side feels different. I feel stuttering on one side, my dominant arm, and nothing of the sort on the other. As you drop that shoulder blade down towards the floor behind you, it travels down towards the hips. And as you lift the fingertips up, the shoulder blade travels away from the spine. Last one. And then come back onto your back in Shavasana to experience any difference. Let your body absorb and integrate what it's just done. Natural breath. Okay, that's it for the somatic portion of practice. So let's bend your knees, roll onto one side, and make your way into tabletop, hands and knees. For now, we'll set the blanket aside, but we'll use it in a moment and make it a little higher than it was when it was underneath your head. So in child's pose, your big toes touch, knees come apart, and crawl the arms forward. Bring your forehead down to the ground. If your forehead doesn't reach the ground here, you can take your books and maybe also your blanket. Stack up a platform as high as you need to so that your hips are on your heels. Some people's don't wind up on their heels, that's okay. And that your forehead is resting on the ground. And just breathe here for a moment. Now look up at your hands. Bring your middle finger to face straight forward towards the front edge of your mat and press the palms down into the earth. Lift your forearms off of the ground and wrap your triceps down towards the ground. Keep the forearms lifting away from the earth. Bring your forehead back to the ground or their support. So you still feel the palms pressing into the earth. Notice the shoulder blades on your back. Without doing anything different, just notice them. Right side, left side. Notice if there's any difference. Breathe. Now keeping those forearms lifted and weight in the inner edge of your palms, triceps wrapping down. Draw the shoulder blades down your back towards your hips. And then press them into the body. So towards the chest, they move into the body. Forearms stay lifted, and that's especially important for folks who hyperextend, those of you with extra mobile joints. So we don't want to dump into the flexibility, rather try and get that upper back to move. And then tune into your armpits. Notice how open your armpits feel. And can you get a little bit more length in the armpits? As if they could grow in the direction of your elbows and opposite the direction of your rib cage. All right. Come up to seated and then grab your blanket or your towel. Fold it a little thicker than when it was underneath your head in the somatics portion, and we'll have it underneath your hands. So you might have to adjust where it is, but the hands now, palms come flat on the towel. Forehead comes back down to its support. And keep that sensation of the forearms lifting. Triceps wrapping down towards the ground. The tricep is your outer arm, opposite the biceps, look at the guns muscles. Those are moving up towards the sky. And you might notice here in your shoulder blades that they're moving into the body a bit more naturally. And again, can you extend the armpits even more? And breathe. Check in with how much effort you're using. Are you really overdoing it today? Can you back out? Or maybe you're just feeling like, oh, I'm just relaxing into the floor. That's okay too. Okay. From here, we will make our way into a downward facing dog. So first come into plank pose. To get the right spacing between hands and toes. Hands are underneath shoulders, toes underneath heels. And then exhale into your downward facing dog. Bend the knees. And then lengthen your tailbone away from the low back. So you're lengthening that low back. Press the inner edges of the hands down into the ground. Wrap your triceps down, biceps up. Draw your shoulder blades up your back towards the hips, and keeping that sense of lifting your forearms, press the shoulder blades into the body, in towards the chest. Breathe. And bring the knees down to the ground and rest for just a breath. All right, let's come back to a downward facing dog. We won't be here for long. Bend your knees and walk your feet forward towards your hands. Sink the weight of your hips down towards the ground. Slight bend in the knees and slowly roll up through the spine. Nice. So I'm going to have to adjust both of these cameras here. Maybe just the YouTube one. So pardon me. I think we're going to be okay. All right. So now stand with your feet wide. If you can't reach the ground when you bring your fingertips down, this is when you'll stack up your books or your blocks so that you can reach. Okay, so make a stack as high as you need to, or stand in front of a couch or a piece of furniture. All right, arms come out to a T. We move with the breath here. If you need to watch one round, go ahead. There's a bit of coordination of shoulders and neck. So inhale. As you exhale, bring your left hand down to the ground and look down at your left hand. As you inhale, bring your right hand overhead and look up at the right hand. Exhale, right hand to the sky, follow it with your gaze. Inhale, come back up to standing, arms out to a T. Exhale, left hand down to the ground, look down. Inhale, or the right arm, excuse me, left arm overhead, look at the hand. Exhale, left arm up to the sky, keep looking at the hand. Inhale, come up to standing, arms out to a T. Exhale, left hand down, look down. Inhale, right arm overhead, look at the right hand. Exhale, right hand to the sky, look at the hand. Inhale, come back up, arms to a T. Exhale, right hand down, look down. Inhale, left arm overhead, look at the hand. Exhale, left hand up to the sky, keep looking at it. Inhale, come up to standing. One more time, both sides. Exhale, left hand down, look down. Inhale, right arm overhead, look at the hand. Bring the hand up to the sky, exhale. Inhale, come up to standing. Exhale, right hand down, look down. Inhale, left arm overhead, look at the hand. Exhale, left arm up to the sky. Inhale, come up to standing, arms to a T, and release the hands. So that was another session of releasing neck and shoulder. And now we'll come to the wall, okay? So I will adjust the cameras one more time. It's complicated since I don't really have a home studio here. So if you're using a mat, you'll bring the short edge of your mat to the wall. We'll mostly be working here for the rest of class, with a few exceptions. Okay, so to start, bring your hands to the bony front hip points and then stand facing your wall, fingertips on the wall. Flatten the palms and walk yourself back so that you're in an L shape. Now you can bend the knees here. It can be quite a deep stretch for the hamstrings. And if you sense that your back is rounding, walk your hands higher up the wall until you feel a straightness enter your spine and the arms, okay? So you can come as high as you need to and adjust the feet so that they're underneath the hips. And this is called a wall push. Bring your ears directly between your biceps. And the same thing we did in child's pose. Press the palms into the wall. Wrap the outer arms down. Draw the shoulder blades down the back towards the hips. And then keeping that sense of a lift in your forearms, shoulder blades move in towards the chest, down towards the ground. Check in with your low back. Is your low back overarching? Is your butt sticking up in the sky? If that's you, reach your tailbone away from the rest of the spine. Move the buttocks slightly down the legs without tucking the tail. If you are tucking the tail, bend your knees more and lift and spread your sitting bones without arching that low back. So we want the low back to be lengthened. Okay. I think I had some trouble with the Instagram feed. If you get cut off on my YouTube channel, is the same live feed. All right, bend the knees, walk the feet in towards the wall and come to standing. So here we've got a series of shoulder opening stretches at the wall, which are incredibly beneficial and effective, but honestly, they can be a bit tedious. So work with me here to see the difference. So first, let's just start in Tadasana, feet underneath the hips. Stack your hips over your heels, shoulders over hips, top of ears over the top shoulders. Let the arms hang down and notice what you notice about your shoulders and your upper back. Maybe you picture Mr. Jones, the skeleton's shoulder blades, and then see if you can feel for where your shoulder blades are in your back. Notice if you're locking out your knees, bend your knees slightly, and open your eyes. All right, step one. You'll bring whichever hand is on the side of the wall, the hand to the wall about the shoulder height and maybe slightly forward. All right, you can bend the elbow and bring the inner elbow up to the sky. So again, we're wrapping that outer arm down. Press the hand into the wall. And as long as you don't have any nerve sensation, any numbness or tingling, you can straighten the elbow. I've got nerve sensation here, and if that's you, keep the elbow bent so that you don't have any of that sensation. If you can't get out of the nerve sensation, you'll just bring your hands behind the back and separate your collarbones as you breathe. If your hand is at the wall, bring the other hand behind the back and then press the flesh of the tush down. So you're lengthening the low back. Notice if you have that arch, but press it down. And then that shoulder blade, the side that's next to the wall, draw it down away from the ear and press it in towards the chest. Keep that low back long. Do the same thing on the other side. So both shoulder blades are moving down and pressing forward towards the chest. Any numbness or tingling, release. And relax your throat. Top ears are directly over the top shoulders. Release this side. Hands come down by the side of the body. Close your eyes and notice difference between shoulder blades. Nice. Well, now you'll just turn around and do the other side. So fingertips pointing up towards the ceiling. Arm is in line with the shoulder, maybe slightly forward. Point the inner elbow up towards the sky. And as best you can with no nerve sensation, straighten at the elbow. You got strong Tadasana legs here. If you're not doing this because of nerve sensation, put the other forearm on top behind your back. And those of you at the wall, take the opposite arm, place it on the low back, and then draw the buttocks down the back thighs to lengthen your low back. Keep that length in the low back. Shoulder blades both move down away from the ears and in towards the chest. Breathe. All right, release this, arms by the side. Close your eyes and notice. Open your eyes, round two. This time, the fingertips point behind you. Okay, so they point in the direction of your backside body. Similar thing, bring your opposite hand behind your back. Draw the low back long. Bring your shoulder blades down towards your hips and press them in towards the chest. Remember, no nerve sensation, any numbness, bend the elbow more. Try to adjust where it is on the wall. And if you don't get out of that numbness sensation, come back to either the same stretch again, or interlace your fingers or grab your strap and reach the arms behind you. And release. Let the arms hang, close your eyes and observe. And then we'll do the second side. Okay, so turn around. Same thing, fingertips point behind you, palm on the wall. Place your opposite arm behind the back, draw the low back long. And draw both shoulder blades down and press them into the body. Sometimes I get nauseous when doing this, which maybe will happen to you. If that's you, if you get nauseous or dizzy, you can come down to kneeling and do the same thing from kneeling. All right, release this side. Stand with your eyes closed and notice. And sometimes we move so fast we don't realize the benefit to the body of the shapes that we make in our yoga practice. And there's benefit to slowing down. All right, stand up, turn around. We got a second side, or actually we got one more pose. So this time, slightly different. You'll bring your wall side arm behind you with the palm face up. So I think it's best I show you like this. Palm face up like you're holding a platter. Stand as far away from the wall as you need to. And then, if you can, scoot closer to the wall as long as your body is standing square to the back of the room. And again, you can explore with where your palm is on the wall, if it's higher than the shoulders or a little bit lower. And you want to avoid that numbness and tingling. Bring your opposite hand behind you and lengthen the low back. And you might experiment here with pulling the fingers into the fist, into the palm of the hand, and see if that changes the sensation. So we're moving ultimately into a camel pose, into ustrasana. And this is the arm position for that camel pose. We're opening up all of these muscles, all of the shoulder girdle with a series of stretches. All right, shoulder blades move down the back. Draw them forward into the chest. And release. Stand in Tadasana, arms by the side, observe. And turn around, the last one in this series, okay? So you might be like, yeah, Quinn, it is pretty tedious. I get what you're saying. But hopefully you're noticing there's a difference when you're standing in Tadasana. So palm face up. Realize that both sides might be different, so maybe you're further away from the wall on this one. Either way, get as close as you can to the wall. And then draw those shoulder blades down the back and press them forward into the chest. And because I didn't tell you on this side, notice if you're arching in that low back, if you need the hand behind you to glide the buttocks down the legs to lengthen your low back, do that. So we're working with some back bending in the upper back, and it's really easy for the low back to say, I know how to back bend, you don't have to do it. But then we're not getting anything out of our shoulders, or we're not getting what we can. Just a couple more breaths here. And release. Stand in Tadasana. Observe. Okay, we're going to come back into a downward facing dog at the wall. This time, let's see, how can I show you this best? You're going to put your hands against the wall. The index finger and thumb will be right against the wall, okay? So your hands will be slightly turned out. It's kind of hard to show you when I'm on the wall. Index finger and thumb will be against the wall, tip of the thumb. And find your downward facing dog. Press the palms into the wall, press the palms down into the floor, the fingertips into the wall. Feel that lift of your forearms. And then draw the shoulder blades up the back towards the hips and into the chest. Let your head hang. Lengthen your low back. If it feels like it's difficult to do that, you can bend your knees. And then get the sensation that your armpits are opening. Remember that from the child's pose. Just a couple more breaths here. You might notice how different your dog feels. Now bend the knees, walk in halfway, and slowly come up to standing. All right, turn away from the wall. And this can be an awkward entry, but don't worry, you'll get it. We place the left heel up the wall. The left heel is slightly to the right of the toes, so in towards the middle of the mat. Okay, press back into the wall. You want to make sure you got a sturdy wall space here. You can even put the hands on the wall, and then take big steps forward with the right leg. So we're coming into warrior one legs. Deep hinge in that front hip. Press down into the right heel and press the left heel back into the wall. Revolve the inner left thigh back towards the wall, which will help draw the left side hip forward. Both heels are pressing. Bring the arms out to a T. Wrap the right arm underneath the left, either hug onto the body or find eagle arms, crossing again at the wrists and bringing the palms together. Keep pressing down through both heels. Left heel into the wall, right heel into the floor. Lift the elbows up to shoulder height. Press the forearms away from the face. Breathe. If you need to take a break, take a break. You can just do the arms if you'd like. Now lift the front hip points up and reach your tailbone towards the inner left knee. Again, we're lengthening the low back. One more breath in here. Soften the shoulders on exhale. As you inhale, bring the arms overhead. Hands to the hips. Bend your back knee and spring forward, stepping the left foot forward to meet the right. And then we'll back up towards the wall. Same thing, second side. So place the right heel up on the wall, toes on the floor. The heel is towards the inner mat, is towards the middle of your mat. So the right heel is slightly left of the right toes. Get your balance and take a big step forward with your left foot. Bend deeply into that left leg. Press down into the left heel and then press the right heel back into the wall. Revolve the right inner thigh back towards the wall, which will bring your right side hip forward. Bring your arms out to a T. This time, cross the left arm underneath the right. And either stay here in a hug or find eagle arms, crossing again at the wrists and pressing your palms together. Press down into the left heel, back into the right heel. Legs are strong. Lift your elbows up to shoulder height if you're in eagle arms. Press the forearms away from the face. Feel free to take a break and just do the shoulders. We are working on heart opening, and now we're opening behind the heart. Lift your front hip points up. Draw your tailbone down the inner right leg. Next inhale breath, bring the arms overhead. Virabhadrasana 1. Hands come to the hips. Bend your back knee and spring forward. Stand in Tadasana. Close your eyes. Smooth out your breath. It's a lot of work. Come back to your center. Notice what you notice about your body. Okay, blink your eyes open. And we'll come down to kneeling. If you have sore knees, you can either kneel on top of a blanket or you can take warrior two instead. Okay? So here, you'll bring, let me make sure both cameras can see me, your right leg straight out to the side, heel in line with the left knee. So you're kneeling. You can curl the left toes under for a little bit more balance. The right toes are facing forward. All right, bring the left arm up into the sky. And then find the crease of the right hip with your right hand. Press that crease deeper. As you inhale, lengthen up long through the torso, and exhale, side bend over to the right. Slide the right hand down the leg, and then draw the right side chest forward as you open the left side chest towards the sky. Lengthen your low back. Don't let that low back overarch here. Breathe. Parigasana gate pose. Lift your inner right thigh away from the ground, but deepen the crease of that right hip. One more breath in. And exhale, come up, and we'll change sides. So, standing now on the right knee, send the left leg out to the side. Heel about in line with the right knee, toes facing forward. Inhale, bring the right arm up to the sky, and then bring the knife edge of your left hand into that hip crease to deepen and drop that hip crease. As you inhale, lengthen through both side waists, and exhale, hinge, side bend to the left. Slide your left hand down your left leg, and lengthen your tailbone away from the spine. Draw the left side chest forward, right side chest opens towards the sky. Breathe. Top shoulders move away from the ears. Lift the inner left thigh away from the ground, deepen into that hip crease. One more breath in. And exhale, release. Nice. So now we'll come into that camel pose. You'll grab your blanket and place it about, I don't know, a foot away from the wall. Your toes will be on it. You'll kneel right up against the wall. So pubic bone will be into the wall. You'll curl the toes under and place them on your blanket. You might need to toy around with your spacing to find the right spacing here. All right, facing the wall, bring your thumbs to the top of your buttocks, and like we've been doing, guide the buttocks down the backs of the thighs. You'll feel your pubic bone now lifting up towards the wall. And I want you to do an experiment. Clench your butt cheeks together. Now relax that. Don't clench the butt cheeks together, but guide the buttocks down the backs of the legs and feel how that's different. Try to avoid the clench. All right, press the pubic bone forward into the wall. As you inhale, begin to lift bottom sternum up towards top sternum, so grow your chest up the wall. Begin to gaze up your wall towards the ceiling. As you draw your shoulder blades down your back, when you're looking up at the ceiling, lengthen that low back, take care of the low back, and now press your shoulder blades into the body and up towards the chest. If it feels okay in your body, if your low back is okay, reach back and find your heels. Now remember when the palm was face up at the wall? Same thing going on in your shoulders here. If it's okay in your neck, drop your head back. Keep lengthening that low back and send a few deep breaths into your collarbones. All right, to come out of this, we leave the head back if it's back. Bring the heart and chest towards the wall, then look up and sit back on your heels. Bring your hands to your lap, close your eyes. Smooth out your breath and notice. Okay, if you're feeling like you've had enough of back bending, lie down on your back for a moment. Take a mini shavasana. Otherwise, we'll try this one more time. If the height of your heels is just enough for you, great. If you need a little bit more, you can hold your books or blocks in both hands and come back, but be careful that's some weight. If you think you can go a little bit lower, get rid of that blanket. You can keep the toes curled under if you're quite flexible. Bring the tops of the feet to the ground. And we'll do this again. Thumbs to the buttocks. Draw the buttocks down the backs of the legs. Don't clench the butt cheeks together, yet there's still some buttocks engagement. There's gluteal engagement here. We begin to lift the pubic bone up the wall. Lift the bottom sternum to the top sternum. Begin to look up towards the ceiling. Shoulder blades drawing down the back towards the hips. When we're looking up at the ceiling, press the shoulder blades up towards the ceiling, into the body, and maybe release the hands back to the heels. Maybe release the head back. Keep that low back long. All right, lead with the chest. Bring the chest to the wall, then lift the head. Sit back on your heels, or if you're in Shavasana, stay. Close your eyes and notice. Okay, so let's come down to the ground with the feet on the wall. Okay, so eventually you'll have your heels and your toes on the wall. My ankles aren't that flexible, but your knees are bent a bit. With the feet on the wall, knees still bent a bit, lay down. All right, here now you can press the heels into the wall, knees are still bent. If you've got a mat, you're in the center of your mat. Hold on to the outer edges of the mat and roll your shoulders underneath you. You can still roll your shoulders underneath you if you don't have a mat. Now, I realize on Instagram you can't see the top of my body. Listen to my words. So in a moment, we're going to straighten the legs in the skin of our back, and our shirts will drag down the back towards the hips. And this is why I said don't wear a crew neck shirt, because if your shirt is high, you might feel like you're starting to get choked. But we want the trapezius muscle, the tops of the shoulders, to be dragged underneath us, okay? So here we go. Gaze up at the sky. Press the legs straight and let the skin of the back drag underneath you. You can release the sides of your mat. Relax the front of the throat. And then with the shoulders still underneath you, bend your elbows, find your front ribs. Notice if they're popping up. Can you soften the ribs down towards the floor without letting the shoulders release from that grip that you've got on the mat? So in case that was confusing, I'm going to go through it again. If you're here and if you can feel what I'm talking about, try and soften the body and breathe, allowing the pose to do the work for you. Now, if you haven't figured this out yet, no worries, it is confusing. You'll roll to one side and sit up, and I'll go through it again. So knees bent to start, toes are on the wall, lay backwards, knees still bent, scoot your heels towards the wall. Roll your shoulders underneath you, and now pressing into the wall without walking your shoulders, you press yourself away from the wall, allowing your shirt and the skin of your back to be dragged underneath you down towards your hips. It'll feel like a stretch in the upper back. The neck gets a little bit longer. And if you just got into this, you bring your hands to your front ribs. Notice if they're poking up and soften them down. Hands to the side of the body. Close your eyes and breathe. Relax your jaw, teeth separate, tongue is loose. This is a great exercise to just do on your own. Although I admit it's hard to do if you don't have a sticky mat or a hardwood floor, something that's going to catch your skin or your shirt. Okay. So here, let's bend the knees. Come into a bridge pose. Shoulders are underneath you from the effort that you just made. Turn your palms face down towards the ground, align along the side of your body. Press down into your feet, and as you inhale, lift your hips off the ground. Reach your tailbone between the knees. Press your feet down and forward, and you'll lift the sternum up towards the chin. Relax the neck. So your chin isn't being tucked in towards your sternum, rather your sternum is coming towards your chin. Shoulder blades move in the body, up towards the chest. One more breath in. And exhale, release. Bring your arms out to a T, palms face up. Inhale here. Exhale, drop your knees over to the right, gaze to the left. Take a few breaths. Use an inhale breath to bring the knees back to center. Exhale, drop them over to the left, gaze to your right. Inhale back to center. Roll all the way over onto one side. Use your hands to press yourself up. And we'll do some counter poses. From those deep back bends, we'll take some forward folds. So you might take your blanket. I'm going to reset the cameras for these last few minutes of class. There we go. And sit on top of it. Make sure that you've got your strap nearby. We'll take another one of those lateral bends. So first, let's come into Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, knees wide. Hold on to the feet. Draw your heart through your arms. Take a few breaths here. All right, now leave your left leg just as it is. Straighten the right leg out long and to the right. So we're coming into a bit of a straddle. If your left knee is off the ground, grab a book, place it underneath. And then take your strap, however you need to, loop it around the sole of your right foot. I'm going to come over a little more so Instagram screen can see me. And so here you're going to wrap your strap, twisting it twice. 2 twists. See, you've got a little twisted knot in the strap, okay? One thing that you might need that I forgot to tell you is more books. You might not need this, but you might, on the inner right knee. All right, strap twisted twice. Hold it in your right hand. Bring your right elbow down to your inner right knee. You might come down to a stack of books, might come down to the floor. Now take an overhand grip with your left arm and grab the top strap. Crawl your fingers down the strap. Open your left elbow to the sky and revolve the right side of your torso forward. Left side opens up. Parivrtta Janu Shirshasana. Breathe. All right, hold both of the straps in your right hand. Lift your left hand straight up to the sky. And as you inhale, bring yourself up to seated. And we'll switch sides. So now the right knee bends, foot in towards the groin, left leg out to the side. Maybe you take your books or your blocks, place them on the inner left knee. Loop your strap around your left foot and twist it twice. Hold the strap in your left hand. Bring your left elbow down to the inner left knee. Take an overhand grip of the top strap, and then open your right elbow to the sky as you draw the left side torso forward. Crawl the hands down the strap and breathe. And bring your right hand up to the sky and inhale, lift yourself up to seated. From here, you'll bring both of the legs out in front of you. We'll do Janu Shirshasana. So let's take the inner right knee, open the right leg, and then bring the right foot into the inner left thigh. Grab your strap, Loop it around that left foot. And then here, before we go anywhere, you revolve the body, the torso, towards the left, lining up your sternum with the inner left leg. From here, inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Keep the spine long. If you have any spinal injuries, anything going on, you stay here. Otherwise, allow yourself to curl hands down the strap, maybe grab your foot, and fold forward. Draw the left side of the navel back, reach the right side of the navel forward, revolving a little deeper. Spread across your upper back and your chest. Breathe. You can lift that right sitting bone off of the ground. Soften the belly. Inhale, come back to the starting position, spine is long. Exhale, sit your shoulders over your hips. Bring your hands underneath the right knee. Lift the right knee, place the foot on the floor, and then straighten that right leg long. Second side, hands on the inner left knee, open the left leg, and then bring the left foot on the inner right thigh. Loop your strap around the right foot, and first revolve the torso over to the right. Inhale here. As you exhale, hinge at the hips, bring your heart forward, spine stays long. Keep the spine long if you have spinal injuries. Otherwise, crawl the hands down your strap, maybe grabbing the foot, soften the belly, and fold. Release the right side of the navel further back away from the leg. Reach the left side of the navel forward. You're deepening that rotation you found in the beginning. But soften the belly. You can lift that left sitting bone off of the ground. Play around. As you inhale, come back up to a straight spine. Walk the hands in towards the hips. Left hand comes underneath the left knee, lift it up, foot on the floor, and lengthen it long. All right, last pose. I'm just checking the time we have left on the Instagram. We've got 1 minute. You're gonna have to take Shavasana on your own, and please do, because you did a lot of work in your shoulders. I want you to do the comparison from the beginning. But from here, loop the strap around your feet. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, hinge at your hips, spine is long. You know if you should leave your spine long now. If you're okay folding, bring your hands down your strap and fold. Soften the belly, let the head go. Breathe. All right, inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale to sit up. And then come into your Shavasana. So lie down on your back just as we began class. Straighten the legs out in front of you. Bring your arms along the side of the body, palms face up. And feel how the body spreads into the floor. Relax your face. Notice your shoulder blades. And this is where I'll leave you today. Spend at least 5 to 10 more breaths here. Just noticing what you notice, feeling what you feel. How has this practice impacted your body?